The jury only needed 3 hours to reach a verdict. But the outcome of this case wasn't decided in the courtroom. It was decided during minute 17 of a police interrogation, when one small behavioral shift changed everything, and almost nobody noticed it at the time. In 2021, 34-year-old Daniel Harper was arrested in connection with a financial fraud investigation that had quietly expanded into something much more serious. What began as a routine inquiry into missing investment funds quickly turned into a federal case. According to court records filed in the United States, prosecutors alleged Harper had orchestrated a calculated scheme involving falsified documents and misleading statements to investors. He maintained his innocence from the beginning. But investigators believed the truth surfaced long before the trial ever began. It surfaced during his interrogation. The questioning lasted just under 2 hours. At first, Harper appeared calm, cooperative, confident. He answered questions directly, maintained steady eye contact, even cracked a small joke. For the first 16 minutes, he projected control. But then came minute 17. Investigators shifted from general questions about business operations to a very specific transaction, one tied to a falsified signature, and that's when everything changed. Harper stopped leaning forward. He leaned back, crossed his arms, and paused for nearly 4 seconds before answering. On paper, that doesn't sound significant. In a courtroom, it became central. Behavioral analysts often point to what's called a baseline shift. When someone is relaxed, they establish a natural rhythm. Posture, tone, blinking, pacing. When that rhythm breaks suddenly, especially around a specific question, investigators take note. At minute 17, Harper's speech slowed, his tone dropped slightly. He began adding unnecessary details to what should have been a simple yes or no response. Instead of saying, "I didn't sign that document," he said, "I would never intentionally sign something misleading. That's not how I conduct business." That distinction mattered. Prosecutors later argued that this was not a denial of the act, but a reframing of intent. And jurors noticed it. Under stress, people often attempt to regain control in subtle ways. Crossing arms can signal defensiveness. Leaning back can indicate psychological distancing from a topic. Adding extra language can be an attempt to manage perception rather than answer directly. Now, none of these behaviors automatically mean guilt. But in context, paired with financial records, digital timestamps, and witness testimony, they can reinforce a narrative. Experts frequently note that deception isn't just about lying, it's about cognitive load. When someone fabricates or edits information in real time, the brain works harder. That extra effort can leak through longer pauses, changes in tone, unnecessary complexity. In Harper's case, minute 17 marked the first time his behavior no longer matched his earlier baseline. And prosecutors built their strategy around that shift. During trial, the prosecution replayed that segment of the interrogation for the jury. Not once, but 3 times, they slowed the footage, zoomed in slightly on his posture, highlighted the pause. They argued that this was the moment he realized investigators had uncovered the falsified signature. The defense countered that posture changes under pressure are normal, especially when facing potential federal charges investigated under standards similar to those used by agencies like the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They argued he was nervous, not deceptive. But jurors later stated in post-trial interviews that the pause stood out. After deliberating for just 3 hours, they returned with a guilty verdict on multiple counts. Harper was sentenced to life imprisonment under federal sentencing guidelines due to the scale of financial damage and additional charges tied to obstruction. Legal analysts debated the verdict for weeks. Some believed the interrogation footage carried too much emotional weight. Others argued it demonstrated clear consciousness of guilt. Harper's legal team filed an appeal, claiming that behavioral interpretation was given undue emphasis compared to material evidence. As of today, that appeal remains under review. But the lesson from this case extends beyond one man. It highlights how subtle psychological shifts, sometimes lasting only seconds, can shape the outcome of an entire trial. So here's the bigger question: was minute 17 truly a revealing mistake? Or was it simply a nervous reaction that jurors interpreted too harshly? Do you think behavioral analysis should play a major role in determining guilt, or should courts rely strictly on physical evidence? Let me know your thoughts below, because sometimes a verdict isn't just about what was done. It's about how someone reacted when questioned about it.